Marine scientists have undertaken the difficult task of replacing the beloved starfish's common name with sea star because, well, the starfish is not a fish. It's an echinoderm, closely related to sea urchins and sand dollars. Population. There are some 2,000 species of sea star living in all the world's oceans, from tropical habitats to the cold seafloor. The 5-arm varieties are the most common, hence their name, but species with 10, 20, and even 40 arms exist. Defensive adaptations. They have bony, calcified skin, which protects them from most predators, and many wear striking colors that camouflage them or scare off potential attackers. Purely marine animals, there are no freshwater sea stars, and only a few live in brackish water. Regeneration. Can you imagine having the ability to regrow a part of your body? Most species of starfish can regenerate or regrow damaged or lost arms. They can also shed arms as a means of defense. If an arm is damaged by a predator such as another starfish or a crab, the starfish can detach that arm and grow a new healthy one. Or if a predator grabs onto the starfish by one of its arm, it can detach that arm as a means to escape from the predator. Regeneration is one way starfish have remained abundant in the diverse marine world. Starfish and other echinoderms are extremely important to the biodiversity of our oceans. I hope that the next time you see a starfish, while visiting the beach, you can take a moment to reflect in both their beauty and their importance to life on this planet. Unusual feeding. Most sea stars also have the remarkable ability to consume prey outside their bodies. Using tiny, suction cup tube feet, they pry open clams or oysters, and their sac-like cardiac stomach emerges from their mouth and oozes inside the shell. The stomach then envelops the prey to digest it, and finally withdraws back into the body. Behavior. Starfish move using small hollow tube legs. Each has a small sucker at the end and is controlled by muscles and a complex system of hydraulic tubes. The common starfish feeds on mussels and other similar animals by prizing open their shell with their strong arms. Once the mussel becomes weak and opens its shell very slightly, the starfish's stomach is inserted into the mussel's shell, dissolving their prey with digestive juices, before reabsorbing their stomach full of the shellfish soup. Females produce small eggs that are released into the sea and fertilized externally to develop as tiny free-floating larvae. It has been estimated that a female starfish of 140 mm diameter can spawn 2.5 million eggs. This is important because only a small proportion of the eggs survive to become adult starfish. Movement. On their ventral side, starfish contain thousands of tube-like feet that contain cells that are specialized for adhesion. In a process that Dr. Pawson describes as rapid gluing and ungluing, starfish can use these tube feet to move across a surface. Each foot has 2 sets of secretory cells that secrete compounds that allow the foot to first attach then detach to a surface. The first set of cells releases an adhesive material that bonds the fuzzy coat on the surface. A different substance is released from the second type of secretory cells that enables the foot to release from the ocean floor or other surfaces. Classification. Starfish are also referred to as sea stars because of their star-shaped appearance. They are a part of the phylum Echinodermata and are related to sand dollars, sea urchins, and sea cucumbers. Echinoderms are found in nearly all marine habitats and constitute a major proportion of the biomass. Starfish belong to the class Asteroidea, derived from the Greek words aster and eidos. There are more than 1,600 species of starfish alive today, and they have an important role in the community structure of the ocean floor. These are a few cool facts about starfish. The first one, sea stars are not fish. Although sea stars live underwater and are commonly called starfish, they are not true fish. They do not have gills, scales, or fins like fish do. Sea stars also move quite differently from fish. While fish propel themselves with their tails, sea stars have tiny tube feet to help them move along. Because they are not classified as fish, scientists prefer to call starfish sea stars. The second one, sea stars are echinoderms. Sea stars belong to the phylum Echinodermata. That means they are related to sand dollars, sea urchins, sea cucumbers, and sea lilies. Overall, this phylum contains approximately 7,000 species. Many echinoderms exhibit radial symmetry, meaning their body parts are arranged around a central axis. Many sea stars have 5-point radial symmetry because their body has 5 sections. This means that they do not have an obvious left and right half, only a top side and a bottom side. Echinoderms also usually have spines, which are less pronounced in sea stars than they are in other organisms such as sea urchins. Third one, there are thousands of sea star species. There are about 2,000 species of sea stars. 2 Some live in the intertidal zone, while others live in the deep water of the ocean. While many species live in tropical areas, sea stars can also be found in cold areas, even the polar regions. Fourth one, not all sea stars have 5 arms. While many people are most familiar with the 5-armed species of sea stars, not all sea stars have just 5 arms. Some species have many more, such as the sun star, which can have up to 40 arms. Fifth one, sea stars can regenerate arms. Amazingly, sea stars can regenerate lost arms, which is useful if a sea star is injured by a predator. It can lose an arm, escape, and grow a new arm later. Sea stars house most of their vital organs in their arms. This means that some species can even regenerate an entirely new sea star from just one arm and a portion of the star's central disk. This won't happen too quickly, though. It takes about a year for an arm to grow back. The sixth one, sea stars are protected by armor. Depending on the species, a sea star's skin may feel leathery or slightly prickly. Sea stars have a tough covering on their upper side, which is made up of plates of calcium carbonate with tiny spines on their surface. A sea star's spines are used for protection from predators, which include birds, fish, and sea otters. One very spiny sea star is the aptly named crown of thorns starfish. The seventh one, sea stars move using their tube feet. Sea stars move using hundreds of tube feet located on their underside. The tube feet are filled with seawater, which the sea star brings in through the madreporite on its top side. Sea stars can move quicker than you might expect. If you get a chance, visit a tide pool or aquarium and take a moment to watch a sea star moving around. It is one of the most amazing sights in the ocean. Tube feet also help the sea star hold its prey, including clams and mussels. 8.1. Sea stars eat with their stomachs inside out. Sea stars prey on bivalves like mussels and clams as well as small fish, snails, and barnacles. If you've ever tried to pry the shell of a clam or mussel open, you know how difficult it is. However, sea stars have a unique way of eating these creatures. A sea star's mouth is on its underside. When it catches its food, the sea star will wrap its arms around the animal's shell and pull it open just slightly. Then it does something amazing. The sea star pushes its stomach through its mouth and into the bivalve's shell. It then digests the animal and slides its stomach back into its own body. This unique feeding mechanism allows the sea star to eat larger prey than it would otherwise be able to fit into its tiny mouth. The ninth one, sea stars have eyes. Many people are surprised to learn that starfish have eyes. It's true. The eyes are there, just not in the place you would expect. Sea stars have an eye spot at the end of each arm. This means that a 5-armed sea star has 5 eyes, while the 40-armed sun star has 40 eyes. Each sea star eye is very simple and looks like a red spot. It doesn't see much detail, but it can sense light and dark, which is just enough for the environments the animals live in. 10.1. Sea stars have 2 ways to reproduce. Male and female sea stars are hard to tell apart because they look identical. While many animal species reproduce using only one method, sea stars are a little different. Sea stars can reproduce sexually. They do this by releasing sperm and eggs into the water. The sperm fertilizes the gametes and produces swimming larvae, which eventually settle on the ocean floor, growing into adult sea stars. Sea stars can also reproduce asexually through regeneration, which is what happens when the animals lose an arm. So, today we are talking about some details about sea stars. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more videos.